Here's one thing that I know for an absolute certainty that's not played up for clicks, that absolutely is real when it comes to hard-nosed, full-on bigotry, and that is Bill Maher. There is no question that Bill Maher is a bigot, especially when it comes to Muslims. He hates them like nobody's business. He has always hated them like nobody's business. And of course, he is a rabid Zionist. Now, is he a Zionist because I believe his mother's Jewish, I think, which obviously could play a role. He was Catholic, or I think he was raised Catholic. So it wasn't like he was raised as a Christian Zionist. However, he is somebody who, if anybody has been watching him over the years, you would know that Bill Maher has never shied away for how much he hates Muslims. And I do think that part of his rabid pro-Zionist, pro-Israel sentiments that he has been throwing out there for the longest time, in my opinion, a lot of that stems from the fact that he has always felt this way about the Muslim community. How do I know this? Because here's a little video compilation of Bill Maher addressing the Muslim community.
New rule, if converting to Islam is all it takes to get the terrorists off our backs, then all I have to say is,
Islam is the motherlode of bad ideas. It comes from a hate-filled holy book, the Quran. The most popular name in the United Kingdom, Great Britain, this was in the news this week, for babies this year was Muhammad. Am I a racist to feel I'm alarmed by that? Because
yes, you are. Yes, you are. But I don't even know if he necessarily cares or thinks that he isn't one. I think he's just gotten to the point where it's like, yeah, you people think you know better than me. Yeah, well, actually, in many ways, we do know better than you. But here's a classic example of a super libtard who grew up in the suburbs. He ended up being a really smart dude. He ended up going to an Ivy League school, though Cornell is debatable because it's considered the bottom feeder of all Ivies. Honestly, he wears this on his sleeve. He's like he's looking at Zach Galifianakis of all people, asking himself, am I a racist because I think that the name Mohammed being the #1 name in America is disturbing? Yeah, it is. But this is certainly not a surprise coming from him.
I am. When that stuff is in your head, it just gives you this neurological disorder.
talk to women who've ever dated an Arab man. The reviews are not good. If Muslim men could get laid more, we wouldn't have this problem.
They're violent because they threaten us, and they are threatening. They bring that desert stuff.
It's a culture of suicide bombing.
Hundreds of millions of them support an attack like this.
Most Muslims,
Vast numbers of Muslim people.
Vast majorities of Muslims say
Absolutely.
that?
Most Muslim people.
Most Muslim people in the world do condone violence.
it's
The worst part about being an overeducated liberal is that you're so damn sure about everything that you don't even hesitate to question, maybe I might be wrong here. Maybe I shouldn't say this. But he doesn't care. Not even a little bit. Even if he's wrong, he doesn't care. He is an extremely wealthy individual who still chases women. In this case, I think he's chasing women that are like 40 years younger than he is. I mean, listen, don't hate the player, hate the game. But the guy is a man-child if there ever was one. Like, he really is. And he's not that funny. Actually, he's not funny at all. I actually went to one of his stand-up comedy shows once, and I realized, oh, now I know why you have such a successful show. It's because you have great writers. It has nothing to do with you.
been going on 1,000 years, this problem between Islam and the West. I'm not an Islamophobe. That's wrong. I am a truth lover.
I didn't know that there was a difference. But heck, you learn something new every day. And of course, for those of you who may remember this clip from, I believe it was 2013, 2014, this was when Ben Affleck was, I believe the last time he may have been a guest on the show, and he was there with Sam Harris, and Sam Harris was spewing his anti-Muslim bullshit. And he was getting Bill Maher to basically gang up on Ben Affleck with him on this issue. Surprisingly, not really.
Saying that Islamophobia is not a real thing. That if you're critical of something,
Well, it's not a real thing when we do it.
right?
Well, no,
It really isn't.
Radicalized Muslims is a unique and greater threat. It is the greatest threat.
It's the only religion that acts like the mafia.
God, does he suck. And the truth is, I bring up Bill Maher because I used to watch his show. Like I did. I watched it pretty regularly, and I actually thought it was somewhat informative. I mean, look, he used to have George Carlin as guests. He had really great guests, but then he won full shit lib of the worst guy. Remember when Bernie was first running for president back in the summer of 2015, and he had him on as a guest, and one of the first things that he did was talk about how I want to help your campaign. I want to see you get the nomination. I want you to be the next president. And at that time, I'm thinking, Bill, that's amazing. You really do mean what you say. And then slowly but surely, it all changed very, very quickly. I am amazed in so many ways how tone deaf some people really are about these problems that we are facing right now, especially with Israel. But I will tell you, I don't know if this is shocking or to be pretty much expected. And I really do believe that there is going to be a reckoning for a lot of people that have done the things that they have done. I am really concerned about all this, but what I will say is that if any of you have not heard of James Kirchick, he's a Zionist scumbag of the highest order. And Bill Maher just had him on last Friday. And here's what he had to say.
We have to really appreciate the unprecedented nature of this conflict that Israel is in right now. This is the first time that a country was invaded by a sadistic, depraved.
I mean, right away, you can just see part of the reason, whether it is the New York Times, any of these other organizations, they all have, first of all, they all have the most stereotypical dispositions, whether it's the way they look, whether it's the way they talk, whether it's the way they dress. It's so fucking typical. And this guy is a contributing opinion writer at the New York Times. Yeah, contributing my ass. This is who they turn to. This is who they want to get information from. Bullshit.
Enemy that came in, murdered 1,200 people, took 250 hostages.
In total, about 300 people, still terrible, but about 300 people were killed by Hamas. The other 900 people were killed by Israel. And yet this fuckhead is out there still spewing this garbage. Jen has said it best for the longest time. One person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter. That has never changed, and it never will. And the idea that they are still going forward with this bullshit, this narrative, 1,200 people killed, 250 hostages, rapes, all that stuff. You know how many Palestinian hostages there are? Over 10,000. You know how many Palestinians have been mass murdered? Probably 500,000. And many more are going to die because of the famine. But this fuckhead who lives in the ivory towers of New York City and writes for the New York Times, he knows what's going on. This is the type of person who would say, I don't feel safe on Columbia University's campus. Bet you he made his pilgrimage in Jerusalem.
You haven't heard about them, by the way. There's some of them left right now. And then these evil, evil men, they built a 500-mile tunnel structure underground with materials that was given to them by the international community to actually build homes and schools and something productive. They use that as a bomb shelter for themselves. And they don't let any civilians come down when Israeli bombs rain down on them. So how can Israel, win this war? I think we all agree Hamas has to go because of
the funny thing about that is that since the start of this genocide, do you know that Hamas has increased its numbers because so many people that have had their families mass murdered have been joining Hamas? Yeah, we totally have to stop Hamas. That's the answer. That's exactly what the problem is. We don't do enough, do we? No. No, why would we? We have to deal with guys like this, these bureaucrats, these fat bastards that stand in the way of progress. Let's see what happens if he had to put on an IDF uniform. Let's see how tough he is. He isn't. But he sure as hell would like to put as many people to death as he possibly can. And when somebody says we have to get rid of Hamas, that is the smoke signal to say we must continue this genocide. Because remember, it doesn't have to be a New York Zio Jew that says this that has to make it stick. No, Israelis will say the real thing, which is we have to kill them all. That's the answer. Right? But no. What this guy is saying, and of course there will be no pushback whatsoever, is that the genocide will continue, period.
If Hamas is left in power at the end of this conflict, I can tell you, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, 4, 5 years, 10 years, they will start another pointless war, and the Palestinian people will be the chief victims of it.
And
Again,
no doubt. Let me just
I can't. They're so fucking pathetic. And Hamas will, and the Palestinians will be the ones to suffer from it. There is not enough ass kickings in the world to go around for pieces of shit like guys like that. There's just not enough. I mean, kick them in the fucking teeth. Ooh, I tell you, my Irish blood, it's fuming. It's up here.
Jack, one thing before we run out of time, because this is important. We are a catch-up on the news show, and what you just said, we all agree that Hamas has to go. Until yesterday, we did not all agree. As of yesterday, the Arab League, let's not bury the lead here. The Arab League, 22 Arab countries got together and said, Hamas, you're over. That's huge. Yeah. That the Arabs themselves are saying, this is a bad organization and these people have to go. You need.
The type of shit that comes out of Bill Maher's mouth about what's really going on here, he's just talking about what they want to do in order to end this. He's not going to talk about the fact that they want Israel out of the equation too. He's only telling part of the story. And why would he not tell only part of it? It's all he's got. He's so full of shit. And he's so, again, this is the problem with super educated liberals. You can never convince them that they're wrong. There's a difference between an undereducated conservative, let's say Christian Zionist, who doesn't know any better, versus an overeducated liberal who thinks they know everything. And he doesn't. He's convinced that he does. And he's putting this out there to his audience. And they're going to eat it up. What I will say, that's a good thing, is that his audience is pretty old.